KNXX Donaldsonville and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour is brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. It's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome in, Hunt and Hill, on a Thursday from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio right here in the capital city. I am Hunt Palmer. He is Hill, Jeremy Hill, Casey Gaines, Taylor Sharp back there on the ones and twos. Jimmy Ott leading us in instead of game time tonight. Appreciate that. Was a fun show that Jimmy and the guys just had going down memory lane with the Auburn football series with LSU. I really enjoyed all that, and we'll certainly touch on that here in the first segment. We got a Throwback Thursday to get to at 1 o'clock. Excited for all of that. Our survivor picks at the end of the show. Everybody's still alive and well. Saints have a new succession plan. We'll talk about that. But we're starting with LSU and Auburn. Look, this is what Jimmy just spent 2 hours on. But it is, I think, the argument can be made that it's the most storied rivalry in the last 35 years in college football. Maybe not the best, maybe not the most passionate, but in terms of stories and moments, it's hard to beat. I mean, I'll just run through the list. 3 years ago, you had Cole Tracy from 42 yards out. 4 years ago, Auburn got up 20-0 and Chark ran the punt back. 5 years ago, you had the loser leaves town and Les left town the next day after LSU lost to Auburn on that last play of the game. 6 years ago, Leonard ran wild. 14 years ago, Flynn to Bird. 16 years ago, John Vaughn misses 4 field goals, including one in overtime. And 17 years ago, the no call and early Doucette and pass interference on the Plains. 19 years ago, leveraging, not leveraging, missed extra points, whatever. 21 years ago, how the West was won for LSU. 23 years ago, the cigar game. 25 years ago, the night the barn burned. 26 years ago, LSU brought back the Magic. 33 years ago, the earthquake game. You can keep going on and on and on. And when I say those games and just give that one little title, everyone knows exactly what I'm talking about. Jeremy, I know you played in a couple of these games, and it's as wild a run as we can recall with any other opponent.
Yeah, it's definitely. And when you line it up against Auburn, you know it's going to be a physical football game. It seems like historically Auburn just has a tough D-line every year, and LSU has the same. And you know it's going to be a physical football game. And when you have two SEC West teams who really want to win the West and get to Atlanta, it's some battles out there, and it's some historic, memorable battles that we've had with Auburn. And I think Saturday is going to be right up there with the best of them. Just two teams who seem to be evenly matched. It's going to be a great night in Death Valley for the Tigers to line it up.
Throwback Thursday will involve one of those games I just ran down. Now there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's 13 games to pick from. One of them will be featured in hour number 2. But let's turn our attention to what we're going to see under the lights of Tiger Stadium tomorrow. Or I guess it's not Friday yet. On Saturday, we'll see under the lights. And this Auburn team, you know, their identity is well known at this point. You know, Brian Harsin is in his first year, so we don't have the Gus Malzahn offense that we've looked at for the better part of a decade. But what you have is a team that has 2 tremendous running backs, led by Tank Bigsby, a offensive line that's been good, not great, but pretty good. And you've got a questionable wide receiver core that they're still looking for playmakers on the offensive end. So what they want to do, line up and run it, Jeremy. I think that's what we're going to see no matter who's under center on Saturday.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of Shivers, a lot of Hunter, a lot of Bigsby.
Yep.
They're going to be feeding those 3 and finding creative ways to get those guys the ball. Shivers is going to be the jet sweep, gadget play guy, and then Bigsby can do everything that you want from a running back. Inside the tackles, outside the tackles, breaking tackles downfield, has speed, has power. And Hunter, he's averaging 10.6 yards a carry as a freshman, so that's nothing to poo-poo over. He's going to make his plays as well. So our defenses are definitely going to have to bring their lunch pails on Saturday because they're going to have to go to work and be ready to have that mentality, man, because those dudes are definitely going to try to come set the tone early on and get their run game going.
This is something that we talked about last night on the Tiger Zone, and it's Auburn's statistics as a whole I throw in the trash can because they've played 3 tomato cans. However, when you look at them and you just take the Penn State game as a snapshot, they're not that far off. So they kind of are who they are. I mean, obviously you can take Bo Nix's 20 out of 22 in week 1, and that doesn't matter. But, they turned around and handed Tank Bigsby 23 times against Penn State, and he ran for 102 yards and 2 touchdowns. So it's not like he's run for 230 every game against Akron, Alabama State, and Georgia State, and then struggled and got 60 against Penn State on 25 carries. No, it's still pretty consistent. So, yeah, you mentioned the 10 yards per carry from Jarquez Hunter. Well, no, it wasn't exactly that against Penn State, but he did run it 9 times for 63 yards. He found some room to run. He also caught it twice in that game. So I think we're still at a point in the season where you're not going to take statistics as a whole in college football for a lot, but you can take that Penn State game and I think learn a lot from it, and that's where I start is that, yeah, Auburn's run it really well against 3 terrible teams, but they also ran it on Penn State.
Yeah, in a tough, hostile road environment. Everyone knows Penn State had a whiteout game for Auburn coming into town, so they were ready. Their fans were ready, the atmosphere. They were ready for a big college football game, and Auburn still showed up. That was a one-possession game for a lot of that game, and Auburn battled. They were in a position in the red zone at the end of the game to tie it up, and they just couldn't get in the end zone. So that's a tough road battle for them. They know what it's like, this roster, to go on the road and play in a tough environment. Saturday will be no different. It's going to be another road, tough environment for them. And for us as LSU fans and LSU faithful, if we get to a fast start, the quicker we can get them out of the run game, the better it'll be for us to really win that game.
So I still want to stick to that Penn State game and who Auburn is. They got behind in the second half of that game, and they took over the ball at their own 15-yard line. At the 25-yard line, down in that game and said, okay, we're going to get back to who we are here, and that's what we're going to stick to. And they drove it down 75 yards on 15 plays, and 59 of the 75 yards, all but 16, were on the ground. We're going to give it to Tank. We're going to give it to Hunter. We're going to let Nix run a little bit, and we're going to move the football on the ground. And they went down and scored a touchdown, a 9-yard plunge by Tank Bigsby. That drive to me, as I look over that entire game, I look at highlights, I look at stats, that's the drive that speaks to me. When Auburn makes up their mind, they're going to try to run the football, and that's where LSU's got to stop them. Yeah, it's looked better the last 3 weeks, but it looked awful against UCLA. So what gives?
Yeah, I think it looked to me in the first half against UCLA. I'll have to look up the rushing stats they had, but I'm pretty sure it was less than 100. They weren't really gashing us to me. I don't remember really getting gashed in that first half. It was more of a fatigue thing that game, and you saw our rush defense get better and better by the week. And obviously last week you can kind of throw that one out. We're never going to run that defense again with 3 rushers and open up all those rushing lanes. So I think for us, we definitely have to have 7, 8 guys in the box this whole game. And really, I think our best strategy would be try to make them pass. Sometimes I wouldn't mind if you see 9 guys in the box. Whatever we can do to get them out of what they love to do and comfortable doing, and that's just hand the ball off to their backs and letting them take them down the field, we can't allow that to happen. So I think if I'm Durante Jones, we're flipping that strategy all the way around from last week, and we're throwing 9 in the box this time.
Auburn's had some really strong number 1 receivers in past years. Seth Williams was great. Da'Keil Williams from right here in Louisiana was a freak talent they had out there. And they've had some really good ones. This year, entering the season, they didn't necessarily have one that you were locking in on. Demetrius Robertson, probably the most likely candidate. He's a Georgia transfer and is a really good athlete. He missed last week's game with an injury. He's expected to play this week in this game, and I expect to see him. Now, he hadn't been going crazy through the first couple of games. He's been okay. He's had 3 catches against Akron, 3 against Alabama State, had 5 catches against Penn State for just 23 yards. He did score twice against Alabama State, but he's probably their best option through the air. Kobe Hudson is another really good athlete. He's 6'1", sophomore, and he gets about 3 catches a game and has been pretty productive for them. But they don't have that alpha out there, and I feel pretty good about LSU's secondary dealing with these guys in a vacuum. Now, you're not in a vacuum because you've got to stop the run and get some help from everyone else in the secondary because your front seven's handling their business. But they don't have anybody that strikes a ton of fear in my eyes from where I'm sitting.
Yeah, not at all. And I think you were watching that game last week. I think Georgia State did a phenomenal job. That's kind of why Bo Nix got taken out of the game. He just couldn't find his receivers consistently enough to put enough points on the board. And I think we have the matchup on the outside. I think with Cordell Flott coming into his own, I think that nickel spot is shored up for sure. And obviously we know we have Eli on the other side. And I think Dwight played well last week to be thrust into the lineup. Obviously with Sting being the starter. So I love all 3 of our cornerbacks. And then obviously Jay Ward and Major Burns have made leaps compared to the first week of the season. So I think we have those matchups on the outside. It's going to be hard for them to really throw the ball down the field and test our DB. So it's going to go back to the run game. We're going to have to really have those guys in the box and try to shore up that rush offense.
The more I look at this, I mean, this has just happened to dawn on me during this conversation, because I chatted with Blake Baker yesterday, LSU's linebackers coach. It was for our pregame show on Saturday, and we were just talking a little bit, and I said, man, this has got to be a little bit of a different week for y'all, especially in the linebacker room. You go from last week where they're going to throw it 70 times a game to this one where it's a physical run game. He said, yeah, last week everything we worked on, you just throw it in the trash can and move on to this one. And then I start thinking back and I go, this is kind of like got some UCLA vibes. They've got two really talented backs that they're going to try to run behind. We got a veteran offensive line just like UCLA did. And while, of course, there are guys on the outside that can make plays, they're D1 scholarship Power 5 athletes, they can make some plays. The worry is between the tackles, and then you've got a veteran, mobile quarterback who's been up and down in his career. DTR, likely Bo Nix, unless it's Finley. But there's so many similarities to UCLA, and obviously LSU knew what they were getting that day and had no answer for it, which is troubling to say the least.
Yeah, it definitely is. Definitely, you can't just overlook their run game and think because they're going on the road in a hostile environment, we're just going to shut them out and they're not going to put up a fight. They're going to be trying their tails off to get that run game going, because if they can get their run game going, silence the crowd, sustain long drives, get points on the board, it's going to make it so tough for us, especially if we can't get our run game going and keep them off the field. So a lot of similarities between those two, and I think when they do get their run game going, it's going to make Nix's job way easier in the passing game. Then they can start running the RPOs and then working all the little, fancy stuff that they do with the jet sweeps and all that stuff too. So got to shut down the run game if you want any chance to win this game.
Let's hit the rewind button for 3 weeks. What happened to LSU's run defense against UCLA start to finish?
Yeah, started off really hot. They were struggling to get any big plays, especially in the run game. Defensive line looked like they were playing sensational. While we thought they were so heralded and so talented. And then as the game wore on, the offense really could sustain drives, kept the defense out there. And then they just start, their will start taking over. They start running the ball with both of their backs and then mixing in the play action behind it. And then as a defense, you're guessing. When defenses are playing well, they can keep you in predictable situations. We couldn't keep them in predictable situations. They were third and short situations, and they were getting their run game going. So I think if you look back at that UCLA game, just starting off fast but continuing how you played in that first half, I think the outcome would have totally been different.
Do you think it was adjustments that UCLA made, or LSU just busted assignments or wasn't good enough?
A little bit of both. I think, now that we've watched that film and looked at it, they were doing a great job getting our linebackers sucked up in the run game. They knew we were in man coverage. When we were in man coverage, they knew exactly when we were doing that. And then when we were caught in man coverage, they were running the perfect routes to run, crossing routes, deep crossing routes with tight ends. And like I said, those are all things that can be avoided if you can shut down the run game and keep them in passing situations.
Hadn't thought about that. It's funny how you have a show prepped and you're sitting here and you got everything ready and you got what you want to talk about, your talking points, and then conversation starts rolling, and then you're thinking, that sounds familiar. We just did this 3 weeks ago, and it didn't go very well. So hopefully LSU's learned from that. We think, based on as what we've been talking about, this step by step since that day, McNeese is the bottom rung, Central Michigan, Mississippi State, and then Auburn, you continue to climb. You hope in that month that things have gotten better. You would think they would have. The X factor is obviously who the quarterback is. And so we'll kind of touch on that here briefly. Ed Ogeron, I was surprised to hear him say this last night on his coach's show. He says he thinks it's going to be TJ Finley. I don't know what gives him that indication, but he says that's what he thinks. I spoke my piece on it yesterday. I'm sure we'll still touch on it over the next 2 days, but I think that Bo Nix will get the start based on all the circumstances that surround it. He's got more experience. He's had some really good days. It wasn't like he was a disaster. He does not have the added anxiety of it being his home state and first start. I think TJ will play in this game. I think Nix starts it.
Yeah. I think if I'm Auburn, I tried out there Nix. He's been in too many road, heavily contested football games and played in those atmospheres. Obviously, he hasn't got a lot of wins on the road, but he's been in that environment. He knows what it's like. He's taking care of the football this year. And if you want to have a chance to win in Death Valley this weekend, you're going to have to do that. You're going to have to not turn it over, and you're going to have to run the ball. And I think Bo gives him their best chance. And to me, he's a little more athletic on his feet. more than TJ can pull it down and do some more stuff with pulling it down in the run game as well. So if I'm Harsin and the crew, I tried out Nix, and if for some reason he looks rattled or is not playing well, then you're probably going to see TJ in there pretty fast.
Greg Lehman in the Bayou 4 chat on the YouTube channel says, "Oh, might be playing chess with Harsin." Look, I certainly will admit that kind of stuff does happen. Football coaches everywhere are so paranoid, so measured with what they have to say, so concerned with all things possible, that it's in the realm of possibility. Do I really think that Brian Harsin is making decisions and game plans based on what Ed Ogeron says, posted up at TJ Ribs, eating some brisket quesadillas, says? I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but it's certainly, it's a thought worth pondering. I mean, look, coaches are crazy about things like that.
Oh yeah, and that's one thing. The older I got in the football world, the more and more I saw every coach preaches one message: ignore the outside noise, ignore the outside noise. The outside noise gets in, man. It's hard to keep it out. You got family members now. It's social media. You got fans. You got people walking up to you. You hear the tea leaves. You hear the stuff out there. It's almost impossible to keep that stuff out. So I know that's what they're hearing over there. And I know a lot of the Auburn faithful, they're really happy to see TJ come in the game. They've seen 2 or 3 years of Nix. And sometimes the new guys, like we've seen this at LSU, the backup quarterback gets a lot of love on campus. So I'm sure that's the very thing with TJ over there right now. They think he can be the savior for their season. So I would not be upset at all if that was the decision they made.
Cortland Jacobs says, "I love that he's been in that environment argument despite him never winning in that environment." That's fair, Cortland, but I don't think you have to win in a life experience for it to matter some. Just having been in a stadium that loud trying to get a play in. Yeah. Just because you lost a game in that environment, during your time doesn't mean you haven't done it before and understand what it takes. Mm-hmm. I mean, TJ's never seen it before. Yeah. I mean, I just don't think you have to win the game necessarily. I mean, you don't think that Bo Nix gained some valuable experience as a true freshman playing in Tiger Stadium, losing a game 23-20 to the best team that he's ever seen? I think there has to be something gained from that.
Oh yeah, 100%. You can't just poo-poo experience. There's a reason why we give so many of these teams with veteran offensive lines who quite didn't have the success in the past, but now that they're veteran, you expect that leap. You expect them, to be better off. You expect them to know what not to do and what to do in those situations. And I think I brought up the experience because for some reason they go 3 and out their first 2 possessions. Quarterbacks that's been in that environment, they're not going to freak out. They're not going to get worried. They're not going to get rattled. They're going to keep battling. They're going to keep going out there trying to make plays. And I think that's what Bo can bring to Auburn this weekend.
All right, well, flip sides of the ball when we come back. And there are some things that I take away from this Penn State-Auburn game that I think look really good for LSU. And there's some things that I take away that I go, ooh, that could be a little bit of an issue. That's next on Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill. We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Have you been arrested for DUI or other traffic violations? Have you made a mistake? We all have. You're not a bad person. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown at 225-343-1111 or connect with us online at ocbrown.com.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Ryan Clark in studio, Mike Triplett talking Saints and our Fantasy Blitz. Join us for Thursday's AFR 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Out in the open field on a Thursday, Hunt and Hill, Throwback Thursday, coming at you at 1 o'clock. We appreciate AccuTemp for bringing you that every single week. All right, Jeremy, we'll flip sides of the ball, talk about LSU's offense against Auburn's defense, and then some of the discussion around the Penn State-Auburn game. So if I had to ask you a question, just open it, and I said, what's LSU's best attribute on offense? What would you say?
I'd say the weapons on the outside, skill position players. That's what I'd probably say our best weapon is.
And you're on the same page as me. I would say the high percentage passing game. I would say the short passing game is LSU's best strength on the offensive end because it doesn't allow the offensive line to be compromised. Max doesn't have the best deep ball in the game, but he does a good job in the short and intermediate passing game. And so that bodes well, I think, against this Auburn team because Penn State has an offense that looks similar to LSU's. They've got a quarterback who is a above-average athlete, as LSU does. They have a quarterback who has a nice arm, which LSU does. It's not Sean Clifford is not going to be confused for Zach Mettenberger or Johnny Manziel anytime soon. He's just a good, solid quarterback who's played a lot of football. And Max is a good athlete, high-percentage thrower. Penn State spreads the field. They run a little bit of tempo. They're often in 3 or 4 wide receivers with the back. Very few tight ends are being used, although they did get the tight end involved in the passing game. But it's an offense that's similar to LSU's. And Sean Clifford was 28 out of 32 against Auburn. I mean, that is a remarkably high percentage. He threw for 280 yards, so about 10 yards a catch, and 2 touchdowns. He did turn it over one time. It was late in the half. Auburn had a blitzer come free. He was kind of throwing it up down the middle of the field, and Auburn did a good job of getting pressure on the quarterback and making the play there. So there was an interception. But Clifford had a nice game, running the ball a little bit with his legs and definitely completing a high percentage of passes. That's what LSU wants to do. That makes me feel good.
Yeah, and I think the number one thing, they just couldn't get consistent pressure on him. And as an LSU fan, especially them coming on the road here, that makes my eyes sparkle a little bit, because if Max has time, that's been what's plagued us all year. He's just had guys in his face, guys rushing after him, free blitzers coming at him. Even the touchdown pass he threw last week to Kayshawn, there's a free blitzer in the red zone. He had to shake him free and climb in the pocket and still find Kayshawn. So just watching that Penn State game, they just could not get pressure on Clifford. And then that allowed him to really just sit comfortably in the pocket. He had some scramble drill stuff where he found a touchdown. And those are things it's almost impossible for defensive backs to stay plastered and covered that long. If the quarterback has more than 3 or 4 seconds, normally 9 times out of 10, especially with the weapons we have, they're going to make some hay.
Now, what Auburn did do on the defensive side is stop Penn State's running game. Noah Cain is somebody that those who follow recruiting is familiar with. He was heavily connected to LSU and looked like LSU was going to get him for some of the recruiting process, and eventually he ends up at Penn State. Talented back. In the game, he ran 19 times for 45 yards. That's about nothing. And Auburn has been disruptive in the past on the offensive front. And they don't have Derek Brown on this team, but they've got some guys up front that can cause some issues. So this is another pretty easy game to diagnose in terms of LSU's plan and what they'll be able to do and what they won't be able to do. I think they'll have some space to make plays on the outside. On the offensive front, the defensive front, I don't think LSU, the Auburn defensive front, I don't think LSU is going to have a lot of success on the ground. You said last night that you thought there was a chance the environment potentially could help LSU's offensive front, LSU's offense kind of get a little juice going and move the pile forward a little bit like they haven't all year. But statistically, I wouldn't predict it. Your thoughts?
Yeah. I wouldn't put too much money on that this will be the week we get our run game going. But I do think, being at home, and I know Max talked about it earlier this week, just the momentum, especially with the plays they're running with Cole Taylor pulling, just mixing different things in there. It's going to get the offense going. And I think if we would have popped some of those runs that we had, the run right before we threw the touchdown pass to Kayshawn was a big run in the game. Just get those plays at home and get the offensive line more confidence, get the backs more confidence that, we can pop some 20-yard runs, we can pop some 30-yard runs. We haven't done those things yet. But if you can do that at home, it's going to give this team a world of confidence to go out there and do it time and time again. So I'm excited for them. I know that's something that they've been plagued this team, and they've been hearing about it every single day, seems like. So at some point you would hope that we can get our run game going just a little bit more than what we have.
That's the point. I'm not asking to run it for 7 yards every time you run it, but man, it would be nice to bust a 20-yarder, a 25-yarder, or just a 40-yarder down the sideline that the safeties run you out of bounds. Like, just some kind of space. It just seems like every single time there's contact right there. We went through the numbers on Monday about where the contact was. It's a foot in front of the line of scrimmage on average. It's just, there's just nothing there. And so I realize that LSU is never this year going to be a team that can just pummel you on the ground. It's just, I don't know how you could predict that to be a possibility. But gosh, they've got enough talent in the backfield and some guys on that line who have played some quality football. You would think at some point they would bust and get into some space.
Yeah, they definitely do. They definitely do. And I felt so great about Ed Ingram and Deculus and just some of the guys, even Jason Hines. I thought he would, have a breakout year this year. We got guys returning. You've played in big SEC road environments. You played at home. You've won a bunch of games. It's time, man. It's time to start pushing people around, getting some attitude. I hate to talk like that, but sometimes when all the technique and all the other stuff isn't working, sometimes you got to just bring a little more juice, bring a little more attitude, not get pushed around. So I think for us, this is going to be an opportune time to go out there and really try to give this run game elite, because if we can do that, man, I feel really, really good about Max. If you give that kid a run game plus the RPOs and all the weapons on the outside, this offense can be booming.
Do you think Max will run a little bit more this week? I mean, look, they still don't have Miles Brennan available, so they haven't really done much of it.
Yeah, that's the one thing I thought with Max being the starter that you would see more, like the actual design QB pull runs where you got a couple guys pulling around and everyone goes with the back, or even just some speed option stuff to flip it out in space and maybe let a guy make a guy miss and get up to the next level. We haven't been doing any of that stuff. I guess they feel comfortable with the RPO game and just some of the other stuff we've been running, but I think quarterback runs would just give us an extra blocker, which we probably need at this point, and I think it would definitely help out. But I think they want to keep Max upright. He's already taken enough beating in the passing game, so they probably don't want to risk it in the run game.
I was thinking about this a little bit earlier, and it's hard to look up, so I haven't done that. But I can't. Have we run a real trick play yet this year?
We ran
think of one. Somebody in the chat, if you can think one.
We ran an end around with Trey Palmer, and then we ran the end around with Kayshawn one time, but that's it. As far as like a double pass, double reverse, or
some kind of wildcat,
no, or even a flea flicker. I would love to see a flea flicker. We don't run that kind of stuff. We've been keeping it pretty simple. I mean, we're averaging 34.5 points a game, so it's like it's not like we were really struggling that bad. So they probably feel good about themselves, but you just know you're going to need a little more, especially when you get in the SEC play. You're going to need a couple more big plays. You're going to need to throw the ball down the field. And I think trick plays is a great way to do that, but we just haven't done it yet.
I feel like this might be a game for that. A late game at home where the crowd matters. You haven't shown everything that you have. It's early in conference play, and you feel like this is a big one to get off to the right start. Feels like, they got some options. They got some guys that played high school quarterback with John Trey Kirkland coming back. Mm-hmm. He can give you a little something. He can throw the ball. He was a high school quarterback over at Lutcher. It feels like there's something. Is that something that you put in? Obviously, you put some stuff in before the season, but maybe there's something during the week that you really rep that for this team, we think this suits us.
Yeah, I think just being in offenses from high school to college to NFL, it's a copycat league. Coaches will see a trick play work on a coach or a team, and then they'll put their little, sprinkle on it and change it up a little bit, and then you start practicing that trick play that week. And then if you don't run it that Saturday or Sunday, probably never going to see that play again. So that's normally how it goes. I remember they had a halfback pass for me. I was so happy. If you
can you throw?
Oh man, look, if you watch the clip that they did, I think LSU made a clip of Jarvis and Odell's one-hand catches at practice. One of them was a halfback pass from me, actually, and they one-handed it. But we could never get it off the play sheet in games. I wanted to so bad, but we just never got to it.
Let's let Keelan throw one at Auburn in 2008. He threw it. I think it was down to the 1-yard line or something. But he threw a pass. God, I can't think of any other quarterbacks that have thrown much. Rare. They threw a throwback against Alabama in 2007 at Tuscaloosa.
We let Terrence McGee throw a pass because he played quarterback in high school. I can't remember which game it was. Ooh, I know we had to play in. They gave it to T. McGee. That's how Frank was. You get hired for the job. Your job is always up for anyone who can do a better job. And T. McGee got it out of me by the end. He played quarterback for 4 years, so I wasn't too mad.
That era. Still. So that was a little bit of a different era where the best athlete in Louisiana played quarterback a lot of the time. That's shifting now because of 7-on-7 life, and you've got a guy back there to throw it more often than not than just a guy who's going to just wear you out. But there was a time there where it was like Jared Mitchell was on a team. He played quarterback. He actually threw with both hands, which was wild. For I think Westlake, it was. And there were so many guys that played quarterback.
Spencer Ware played quarterback. Russell Shepard.
Yep.
A lot of guys, man. A lot of guys played. Ruben Randall played quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, how about that guy played quarterback? So, yeah, we had a ton of quarterbacks on the roster when I played, and a lot of those guys just, we didn't give them a chance to really sling that rock.
You heard it here first. I haven't been to practice all week, so it's not like I can spoil anything. I'm calling a trick play this week just because I think it's a home game. We haven't done it all year. I feel like it's going to be close. I'm calling a trick play this week.
I would love to see it. Like one of these guys, like Kayshawn chunk one across the yard to one of these receivers. I would not be mad at seeing that.
Let's shift focus to the NFL after this break. It's Hunt and Hill right here, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Holding down the middle of the day. This is Hunt and Hill. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
And our topic today is about savings. What is savings?
Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Have you been issued a ticket for texting, speeding, or other traffic violations? Have you made a mistake? We all have. You're not a bad person. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown at 225-343-1111 or connect with us online at ocbrown.com.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my 4 boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at PatientPlusUC.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back, North Airway off of Airline Highway.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
It's week 5 in the prep football season. We get you started Friday night at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview. Catholic High and Lafayette Christian kick off at 7, immediately followed by a full 2 hours of the Louisiana Prep Scoreboard Show on YouTube, CST, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, it's at this point every single week where we take a look at the NFL and decide how many teams are still alive to win the Super Bowl. Of course, all of them are, but in our minds, they're not. And there are going to be some changes made this week to our list. Right now, I've got 4, 8, 10. I've got 14 teams left, and they will not all be standing at the end of my diatribe here. Right. So let's go through them. And there are a couple that make me feel a little bit nervous, but I think we're okay. I stuck with the Packers after week 1, and they've looked a lot better since week 1. Aaron Rodgers is still playing at an unbelievable level. What he did last week, there just aren't that many quarterbacks that can do it. Fitting that ball in over the middle on the first strike, and then they left Adams open there on a second one, and then Crosby comes in and drills it from over 50. But he's still that dude, and I'm still fine with them. Obviously, the Bucs are a great team. They go out west and lose, but they're still in good shape. I've still got the Saints there in the NFC as well. Cardinals, no reason to do anything with them. The Rams are playing great. That's your pick there. Look fantastic. I'm not going anywhere with the 49ers either. So I like that roster. I think Garoppolo's playing well. They've mixed Lance in. He scored a touchdown. They're really good as long as they're healthy, which they, of course, were not last year. Still got the Seahawks. Unfortunately, the Vikings smacked them down last week, and that's a team that I pulled at 0-2 because I didn't think their defense was any good. Seattle didn't look great. I'm leaving them in there because I love their quarterback. That's really the only reason that I'm leaving them in there. But I am going to. Buffalo is rolling now. They've gotten the offense going. Unbelievable performance. So that's my NFC. Packers, Bucks, Saints, Cardinals, Rams, Niners, Seahawks. Buffalo is rolling. That's my Super Bowl pick. I think they're playing fantastic. Still like the Ravens. Great roster. Lamar playing well. Got the Chiefs monkey off their back, so at least they know they can do it if it has to happen in the playoffs. Here's where I'm starting to make a little change here. The Steelers are out. RC told us about this before the season even started, and they look pitiful. Roethlisberger is old and hurt. They just do not look like the great Steelers teams of past. And I realized they thought they could retool that offensive line a little bit. Your boy Trey Turner goes up there with DeCastro out, and they do have lots of weapons. But after beating Buffalo in an impressive week 1, they've lost by double digits at home against the Raiders and double digits at home against the Bengals. They're about to head to the Packers. They play the Broncos, Seahawks, at the Browns in their next 4 games. That's 1-3 at best. I've lost all hope in the Steelers doing anything. They are a team of the past for me. I do still like the Browns a lot. I'm still on the Titans. Obviously, the Chiefs are good. And, hey, Los Angeles, the Chargers, still a force to be reckoned with. So I'm now down to 13 with the AFC, Ravens, Browns, Titans, Chiefs, and Chargers. The teams I feel uneasy about not having on there are Minnesota and Dallas, who have some ability. Would I pick them right now? No, to win the Super Bowl, I would not. But I don't feel super awesome not having them there.
Yeah, that's how I feel about the Saints. I don't know what it was. I just didn't believe that James could really. I know they could have some success. I know they'd probably make a wild card, but just to go to the Super Bowl, I feel like that was a little too rich for me. But that's probably one of the teams I'm like, they could get hot, man. They could really turn it around. But Packers, no shocker there. Anytime you drive from your own 25 with 30 seconds left and get points, that's just incredible with the game on the line. So Aaron's going to have them. If they're in a one-score game in the fourth quarter, you feel really good about Aaron having the ball in his hands. And the Vikings, I kept them on there, man. A lot of people jumped off. I think you jumped off last week, 0-2.
I was measured when I did it. I said they've lost to good teams at the gun. Yeah. They're not terrible, but I was picking them more so because their defense in the past has been really good. Look, Cousins is a solid quarterback, and the weapons they got are really, really good. But I was so disappointed in what their defense had done through 2 weeks that I yanked them. Was it premature? Probably, but here we are.
Yeah, I think having them at home, I think they have to start the year 2 road games in a row. Yeah. Being able to go back home, Daniil was just flying off that edge, man. He's going to wreak havoc this year. That dude's coming and with bad intentions off that edge. And who wants to block a 6'6" dude with a 7-foot wingspan? That dude's a freak.
They got another home game this week against Cleveland. They win that game, especially if they do it convincingly. All of a sudden, I'm going to feel not great.
Yeah, that's going to be a big one for them. If they start 1-3, then I may have to, do a little deleting myself. But I like the Vikes right now, and then the Bucks, obviously the goat man over there. They're gonna be in every game this year. That roster, obviously the Rams is a tough road environment. I know the Rams. We say it all the time. Some teams have certain Super Bowls for them. I think that was the Rams Super Bowl. They knew the Bucks coming to town at home. That was their chance to really, set the league on notice. So that was no shocker there. I think we both took the Rams in that game anyway. So Cards, my most improved player of the year, my MVP pick, my boy Kyler. He's just on fire right now. Also my fantasy quarterback, just on fire right now. So I expect them to continue to do great things, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And then the Rams, my Super Bowl pick, Matty Staff, man. Matty Staff's going nuts, and I didn't expect anything different with the weapons he have. And then you bring Deshaun to just take the top off, and that offense is scary now with that. So Rams are good. They're not going anywhere. 49ers, they're starting to hear those QB controversy whispers now. With you lose a game, that's what happens. You start hitting the tea leaves, and then the head coach starts getting all the questions. But I think Jimmy G's battle tested. Just his career overall record as a starter is too good. He's probably 15, 16 games over 500. You got to respect Jimmy G. So I still got the Niners, and that D-line is crazy. So Seahawks, on notice. That was my pick before the year when everyone was said we had to do our shocker things. I said the Seahawks may take a step back. That was the team I picked. And obviously I put them in my Super Bowl pick just because of their quarterback. But that was a team I wouldn't be shocked if they took a step back just because their defensive line just can't get after the passer. So when you do that and you can't stop the run, it can get ugly for you. And you saw that last week. So Seahawks, you're on notice.
How long? We both have the entire NFC West still alive. Now, it's week 3. I get it. We've played 3 games. But how long can we possibly have an entire division as potential Super Bowl teams?
I think best case scenario, you could still have 3 teams make the playoffs from one division.
Right.
I've seen it done before. One team's obviously going to get kicked out, but I think you could easily have 3, because when you start looking at some of these other divisions in the NFC, where are they? Like, you go NFC South, you feel probably good about the Bucks, and then maybe the Saints.
What about Carolina?
Yeah, but I don't know about them yet. I don't know about them yet. They got to show me a lot more. And then they've had some injuries now, so they'll really be put to the test this season. So I'm not gonna go quite there yet with them. And then, but you look in some of the other conferences in the North, we see the Vikings. If they lose this week, then they're pretty much almost out of it. Where else we got? The NFC East. God,
Bad.
that's one team from that division.
Yeah.
So you look around, you could easily probably see 3 teams from the West getting in. So I'm gonna have to keep the Seahawks in for now. So those are my NFCs. Your pick, obviously, the Bills.
Yep.
Man, Allen, man, that dude's unreal. That dude,
Yep.
he's a stud, man. So you're gonna have your hands full with him every week, and I think they've tempered him down, especially after that first week. He just looked a little erratic, just wanted to really get the ball in there, but now he's calmed down a lot, and he's gonna probably throw for 4,000, 5,000 yards this year. So this is my second team on notice. This is they're
You still have this team? I'm looking at the chart. You're leaving them in?
This week, I'm leaving them in. I'm giving Bill one more shot. Bill, this is your shot right here.
They're not
good.
good.
Y'all lose this game. No, I'm giving them a shot. Y'all at home. It's going to be a big emotional game. If y'all can somehow find a way to beat the Bucks, then I'm going to be feeling really good about this. But if not, it's going to be the quickest delete you've probably ever seen.
I had them out before the season started, and I'm feeling just fine about it. This team stinks.
Yeah, I got you. Ravens, big trust. I know he's had some back injuries, but when you trot out the best kicker in the football league's ever seen, you're going to be in every game as long as you can keep it close. So Ravens are always going to be there. And then the third team on notice is your Steelers, man. RC, I should have listened to you, man.
You're leaving the Steelers too.
Leaving the Steelers for now. For now, they
Jeremy's being too inclusive here, folks. You heard it from me.
I got 3 teams, man. Look, I promise you, next Thursday they're going to be off this list so fast if they lose Sunday. So that won't be a shocker. And then the Browns, my Super Bowl pick. Feel really good. You get Odell back. He looked to be okay, getting his legs back underneath him. If they can get Odell anything like the Odell of old, that offense is going to just be terrifying. So feel really good about them. And then the Chiefs, this is going to be a place they've never gone before, man. Just being down and being in position to go 1-3. Like, who would have predicted that? So they're going to have to really lock in and take care of the ball, because I would have never thought I'd say this, but Chiefs mess around and start 1-4, 1-5. It's just not that many games in a season, man. You're going to be digging from too big of a hole. So they're going to have to get it in the gear, especially right now, because you don't want to start off 1-4, 1-5 or anything crazy like that. And the Chargers, man, Herbert's going to be an MVP candidate for the next decade, man. That kid is a stud. I'll be the first to tell you, I did not see that coming. I watched him against Auburn and Derek Brown and the crew. They were getting after him. He just didn't pop off my screen for me, and he just seems to come in this league. He makes it look easy. He went into Kansas City, beat Mahomes. That's nothing to poo-poo at. So Chargers are going to be around, man. They're going to be tough.
Saints, if you missed it, have a succession plan with the Benson family. We'll get to that to close out hour number 1 on Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Ochsner Health.
Tonight, we invite you to celebrate life, wherever and whenever you can, understanding that time is never on our side. Instead, gather up your friends tonight and share a few stories and laughs over a good bottle of wine. Or maybe a family meal that gives everyone a chance to reconnect and remember what's really important, whether it's for a birthday, an anniversary, or simply to remind someone special that they are loved. Rufino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Have you been arrested for DUI or other traffic violations? Have you made a mistake? We all have. You're not a bad person. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown at 225-343-1111 or connect with us online at ocbrown.com.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
Coming up on Fridays Off the Bench, I love trucks and Auburn sucks. Plus the final show before the return to the Dome and the burying of the G-Men. And we drink champagne with Rivers. Off the Bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Saints owner Gail Benson, who was willed the team from her late husband Tom, as opposed to his stepchildren, has outlined the succession plan for the New Orleans Saints. A great report from WVUE, as well as Jeff Duncan in the Times-Picayune, outlined that succession plan for Gail Benson, who is, again, 74 years old. They will orchestrate a sale when she passes away. And Dennis Lauscha, the president of the Pelicans and the Saints, will be in charge of administering that sale and then taking the proceeds from that sale and scattering it out to the community and the city of New Orleans. Part of the stipulation of the sale is that the new ownership group must keep the Saints and Pelicans in the city of New Orleans. Look, it's unfathomable to a lot of people who call the Saints their favorite sports teams, and there are lots of them down there in New Orleans, that the Saints would ever move. And there was a real possibility of that at one point. That obviously doesn't seem to be such a possibility now, but the Pelicans and the NBA are always moving chess pieces around. Yeah. So you hope that they can keep the Pelicans around as well. But look, the Saints are the heartbeat of that city, and they deserve to be there. And it's great that that Rita has, beg your pardon, Gail has said that part of this into the contract of this sale that has been approved by the NFL and the ownership group means the Saints are staying in New Orleans for a long time.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing to see, and I think that's something Tom started, and she wants to continue that. And I think having that be a part of the state, to be a part of a community, just all the jobs and revenue it brings to the state, just having Super Bowls, events, everything that we have in New Orleans, I think moving that from out of New Orleans, it would take just so much, away from the city, just the joy and love that you have, especially in situations like Hurricane Ida. When the Saints got to go play in Jacksonville, the people in New Orleans had something to cheer for that day. You move the team out of New Orleans, it's not going to be much to cheer for. So I think that's a beautiful thing that they're doing, and I'm excited to see the Pels and the Saints stay around for a long time.
I am as well. Look, I've do a lot of work down in New Orleans. My home base for the offices is New Orleans, and I hadn't spent a ton of time down there until that was the case. And I'm inundated with LSU stuff day to day, constantly. They're black and gold down there. It's 90% Saints talk, 5% LSU talk down there. Well, 5 of whatever else mixed in. So yeah, it's great to see that's been outlined. T-Bob had a great look at that early on in his show this morning. If you're interested in hearing some more details, and somebody who covered the Saints and the succession plan when Tom Benson was still around very closely, T-Bob did, and he had a great explanation of that this morning. If you want to read more, Jeff Duncan's piece in at the Times-Picayune, as well as WVUE's report, are great looks at what is to come for the Saints organization and all that's been kind of put at the feet of Dennis Lauscha, who's the team president. Not a lot of people know who he is, but he's been around a long time and will certainly do a good job with that. So hour number 1 is just about to be in the books. Took a look back at LSU and Auburn, talked about some of those great games and what we should expect to see on Saturday. Took a look at the NFL, and then right now that Saints succession plan. Second hour is coming up on a Thursday. You know what that means. Wayback Machine's coming. Throwback Thursday presented by Accutim is going to lead us off, and we'll talk to a player who played in said game. Come back with us on Hunt and Hill.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
And our topic today is about savings. What is savings?
Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Have you been issued a ticket for texting, speeding, or other traffic violations? Have you made a mistake? We all have. You're not a bad person. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown at 225-343-1111 or connect with us online at ocbrown.com.
All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. Need repair? Our service department is ready and available to help you today. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Injury lawyers. Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Reminder about AccuTemp, AccuTempBR.com. Still giving that post-Ida system check of your AC unit for just $59. It's a savings of over $100. Get your phone out. I got a number for you. All you got to do is text IDA, I-D-A. Text IDA to this number, 31996. And that'll let AccuTemp know they need to come out, check your AC unit for $59. All of ours went down during Ida. Got to give them a look and make sure that everything's running properly here. And they'll do it for $59. So AccuTempBR.com. And text IDA to 31996 to get that AC checkup. All right, it's Thursday. It's the second hour. Let's throw it into the Wayback Machine.
Throwback Thursday, presented by AccuTemp, your AC and electrical experts.
As they roll back to the near side, and he's going to throw it. Oh, it's going to be caught! Caught! Touchdown! Holy cow!
Hunt and Hill's Throwback Thursday.
Cigars, earthquakes, barns burning, penalties, not penalties. There are an endless amount of options here for LSU and Auburn week, and generally speaking, I like to kind of tell a story with this one, and I looked through the options and picked one. We go back to September the 15th, 2001 for this one. That day, that night, Tiger Stadium was silent. Not a single college football team took the field that Saturday as the nation healed from the attacks of September 11, 2001. Games from that weekend were moved back to the first weekend of December if there wasn't an amicable bye week in the season for the teams playing. And in this case, LSU and Auburn, it created a winner-take-all scenario in the SEC West. LSU was 7-3 on the season, 4-3 in Southeastern Conference play. Top 10 Tennessee and Florida teams dealt the Tigers lopsided losses in back-to-back weeks early in the season, and Eli Manning ran around Tiger Stadium turf on a Halloween weekend and left with a 35-24 win. But the Tigers had won 3 straight, including wins against Alabama and a ranked Arkansas team, put itself in position to win the SEC West for the first time since divisions were formed in 1992. That night, a record crowd of 92,141 was on hand. Auburn entered the game limping from a 31-7 Iron Bowl loss, but was 5-2 in league play, including an upset win over number 1 Florida back in October. Tommy Tuberville was in year 3, but wasn't received very well in Baton Rouge after his team had fired up cigars in Tiger Stadium in 1999 after a lopsided win. And what his team did 15 minutes prior to kickoff that night was not received very well either.
And I want to show you something that happened just before Auburn headed to the locker room. The players came to the middle of the field and they stomped on the LSU logo, the eye of the Tiger. The officials are on the field. They threw a flag. Auburn has already been assessed a 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. They won the toss, and Auburn will receive. They are hoping, I'm sure, that the kickoff man for LSU will kick it into the end zone, because if they had to kick it off with the -15, they'd have to go a distance.
Wise choice, Ron. You always worry about an onside kick when you have a 15-yard penalty.
Well, we will see. John Corbello has the ball teed at the 50-yard line. An unusual start, but when LSU and Auburn play, there are always unusual things that happened. And they did go with an onside kick, and it was recovered by LSU. Mitchell Clayton. Michael Clayton, the wide receiver.
Young Michael Clayton recovers the onside kick. Auburn's team will come later. Auburn's team stomps on the eye. LSU comes out and goes with the onside kick, and they take over on the 26-yard line with the football, and they only needed 5 plays to strike first.
Well, let's see if they do. Second down and goal. The ball just outside the 1-yard line. Full house. Power set to the right. Cofield goes at right tackle. Touchdown, LSU.
Tiger Stadium was alive that night. LeBrandon Tofield punches it in. LSU has a 7-0 lead, but Auburn wasted no time responding. Freshman quarterback Jason Campbell hit Tim Carter for a 72-yard touchdown just 3 plays later to even the score. That Tommy Tuberville, he just couldn't help himself.
Duvall to kick it off. Onside kick, and it's caught and recovered by LSU.
Another onside kick try. LSU's Johnny on the spot for that one. Tigers couldn't capitalize, had to punt the football away. The teams traded punts for 3 drives until LSU moved into field goal range with 4 minutes to play in the first quarter. That kick was blocked. But Jeremy Lawrence, LSU linebacker, picked Jason Campbell off on the first play of the next drive to set LSU up in Auburn territory for the 3rd time in the first quarter. The homestanding Tigers drove it down to the Auburn 30, but Davey was picked off by Carlos Dansby, Auburn's linebacker. After 1 quarter of play, we had 2 onside kicks, a blocked field goal, 2 interceptions, and a tie score. On LSU's first possession of the second quarter, they drove down into the red zone, and, the red zone, that's where Mr. Bolitnikoff lives.
How about Josh Reed here? Make sure I know where he's at.
3rd and 9. Here comes the pressure. Lobs it to the end zone. Touchdown, and guess who? Mr. Reed.
Nice call, Mr. Gottfried. 14-7, LSU led it. The LSU defense really showed up in the second quarter, allowing just 40 yards of offense. And the Bayou Bengal offense would add another score on a 79-yard drive capped by Dominic Davis's 7-yard touchdown scamper. At halftime, it was 21-7 LSU, and the Baton Rouge faithful could taste a Western Division title. Now, the fireworks outside of the game continued at halftime.
Just a minute ago, Damon Duvall, the LSU band is trying to finish their halftime performance, and Duvall comes out with the special teams coach and the long snappers. The LSU band's not done, and the LSU band got upset about it, and you could see the pushing and shoving. So it has been a bizarre beginning of the first half and also the second. And Damon's wrong. I'm sorry. The band deserves their time at halftime. Didn't you warm up after?
Hell yes, Ron Franklin. The band deserves their time at halftime. Damon Duvall, get out of here. LSU took the ball in the second half. Thanks for Auburn's decision to receive to begin the game. And the Tigers marched 73 yards but had to settle for a field goal, which was good. 24-7, your score in favor of the home team. Auburn had relied on Ronnie Brown and a fierce running attack, and it was now dependent on young Jason Campbell to lead a comeback in Death Valley. Campbell did author a nice 52-yard drive that set up a 29-yard field goal from one Damon Duvall, but he missed it, rattled by the band. LSU would punt on the following drive and then hold Auburn to a quick 3-and-out. And on 4th and 18 with just over 3 minutes to go in the third, Duvall was sent out to punt and was the storyline once again.
They're going to throw, and Duvall throws it long, too long, and it's intercepted. This is Hickman.
Sweet stat line for Damon Duvall. Got in a fight with the band, missed a 29-yarder, and then threw a pick to Demetrius Hookfin. Not his best day at the office. Tommy Tuberville had lots of tricks. None of them worked. It's from there where LSU put the game essentially out of reach. The Tigers went 57 yards on 15 plays, took up 7:19 off the clock, and when John Corbello's 22-yarder sailed through, it was 27-7 Tigers with 10 minutes to go in the ballgame. Auburn would put one more score on the board to make it 27-14, but behind Tofield, LSU was able to run out the remaining clock to seal the ballgame. Thousands, including myself, a wide-eyed 8th grader, flooded the Tiger Stadium turf to celebrate LSU's first Western Division title. Cigars were lit, turf was pulled from the eye of the Tiger that had been foolishly stomped on hours early, And now that turf hangs in frames across the state of Louisiana. LSU was headed to Atlanta to face Tennessee, who had just upset Florida earlier in the day in the SEC Championship. Tennessee would have a national championship berth on the line, and we know what happened then. The rest is history. That was the night LSU first won the West, September the 15th, 2001, turned into December of 2001. LSU and Auburn under the lights of Tiger Stadium. Look, this is a series with an unbelievable amount of history. That one, I think, with the September 11th aspect of it, the stomping on the eye of the Tiger, the band fight at halftime, the wildness of the onside kicks, and then you've got LSU's first trip to the West, which you can still hear in that crowd. Some of these games that we've gone back 20 years, 15 years prior, crowd just sounds a little bit different than it does on your given Saturday night. The hunger is palpable, and I thought it was that night for sure.
Yeah, just an amazing atmosphere, and it's nothing like that. I think you kind of saw it this year in basketball with the Milwaukee Bucks. That's that whole fan base just getting behind their team. They haven't done it. It's been a long time. It's been since 72. For us, it's since 1959. So everyone just felt, get into Atlanta and just winning it and just doing it because we haven't done it in so long. It's just, you can feel it in the atmosphere. You can feel the fans just really wanting to get behind the team and cheer them on to victory. Just so much passion. And I remember those days just getting out of the way of the goalposts because they were tearing them down every chance they got. So you better be watching your head.
Just an absolutely wild season when LSU at 5-3 can win the West. Alabama was 4-4 that year. Auburn finished 5-3 with LSU. It's a different day and time. Now you've got to basically run the table. At the most, you can lose one to get to Atlanta, really on either side. And that was not the case back in those days. Obviously, you didn't have the dynasty that Alabama's brought and the elite teams that LSU and Auburn have had over the years. But, man, thinking about winning the West at 5-3 and getting to Atlanta is a wild thing to consider, and LSU was able to pull it off that year.
Yeah, man. Just the go. I think we talked to Kyle about that yesterday, just not knowing where the program was headed, especially us, like as LSU fans, just really not having the success. Obviously, not the 3 national championships in 20 years. You just didn't see that at all. So the passion, the love, just the just really believing in the team and supporting them and getting them over that hump. You really saw that at the beginning of that Saban era. So just beautiful days to look back on, and now we got us to stack up some more chips.
That's exactly right. I'll go back to the end as I finish before we get to our player from that game, which I'm really excited about. Is I remember, as I said, I was in 8th grade, and I charged the field with everybody else, and I remember going to the Eye of the Tiger and pulling purple and gold grass up that I ended up putting in my pocket and bringing home, and it was framed in my bedroom for a lot of years with the newspaper clippings because that was a huge deal for LSU to win the West. But the scene that night in December in Tiger Stadium with all the cigar smoke layered over the field because of what Auburn had done 2 years prior and everybody getting grass off the turf because they knew it was the last game, it was a scene that's burned into my brain. Now, you're really impressionable in 8th grade, and it's something that you would not forget, but it just that night, I think I was on the field with thousands of people. I'm sure people listening to this show right now were on the field, whether you were a student like me or in 8th grade or you were there with your kids and they just let everybody go out there that time. It was a different era, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely different times, man. I think we did it against Ole Miss a couple years ago, and then we did it against Georgia, but those aren't our expectations as LSU. We're normally, on the other side of that, having teams charge the field when they upset us. So I think just totally different times for Tiger fans, and just a beautiful time, just before the era of dominance that we've had over the past two decades. Just a great thing to see, man. Just all the passion and the fans really coming together as one, man. I'll never get tired of seeing that.
So we played that game. We gave you some highlights. The first was an onside kick recovered by, as Ron Franklin said, Mitchell Clayton, a freshman. It was Michael Clayton who made that play. Also had a huge hit on a punt return in that game that he wants to talk about, as well as a few things. Michael Clayton, LSU star and former member of the Tampa Bay Bucks, will join us next on Hunt and Hill.
Serving up the latest from the sports world. It's Hunt and Hill. We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And our topic today is about savings. What is savings?
Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my 4 boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, They have, and Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at patientplusuc.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back, North Airway off of Airline Highway.
Tonight, we invite you to celebrate life, wherever and whenever you can, understanding that time is never on our side. Instead, gather up your friends tonight and share a few stories and laughs over a good bottle of wine. Or maybe a family meal that gives everyone a chance to reconnect and remember what's really important, whether it's for a birthday, an anniversary, or simply to remind someone special that they are loved. Rafino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Ochsner Health.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Have you been arrested for DUI or other traffic violations? Have you made a mistake? We all have. You're not a bad person. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown at 225-343-1111 or connect with us online at ocbrown.com.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Coming up on a Thursday edition of Early Line, we let the dogs out and give you some underdog picks for Week 4 in the NFL and Week 5 in college football. Plus, Major League Baseball picks with Tyler Moody. Early Line, 2 p.m., 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
AccuTemp is the premier service provider for Baton Rouge for air conditioning, electrical, and plumbing. Don't take my word for it. Just take the reviews you can find online. This one from Alfred. As new customers of AccuTemp, we were reluctant to try a new company cold turkey because we usually use companies through word of mouth. While watching AccuTemp's TV commercial, we were convinced to give them a shot, and we must say we were immediately impressed with the company. Our technician, Joey, was professional, personable, efficient, and thorough while investigating the issue with the AC unit. After examining the AC unit, he informed us of his findings, revealed his diagnosis with transparency. Joey presented the proposal, allowed us to explore our options, and explored the process of work to be performed. Clearly, Joey represents AccuTemp's core value because he successfully displayed the company's commitment to rendering quality service to the customers. AccuTempBR.com is where you can find them, and they bring you Throwback Thursday every single week. Our pleasure now to bring on a member of that 2001 team that won the West for the first time in LSU history, Michael Clayton. Michael, we appreciate your time. How are you?
I'm good, brother. How you, man?
Doing very, very well. Look, I know that game, there's a lot of storylines to it. You were just a young freshman, but you got involved there pretty quickly. First, I want to talk about, being a student and being here at LSU as just a freshman when 9/11 happened and kind of the world stopped there for a week. What was it like inside the football room?
Yeah, man, we had never experienced anything like that, so obviously it was a very scary time. And at the beginning, I remember sitting in my bed not knowing what was going on and saying, look at this idiot flying into the building. And then, minutes later or, another plane flies into the building. I'm like, what's going on? Like, idiots. So idiots flying, they let idiots fly. And I'm sitting in my bed before I go to class and, didn't know that it was an attack. So once we learned what was going on, Coach Saban kind of gathered the team and, let us know how we would handle it, ensured us that everything would be okay. But obviously, as a 19-year-old kid, it was a scary time, man. And I know we didn't play Auburn. I think that was the week of the Auburn game where the games were canceled. And, so you just didn't know what was going to happen in the world, man. You just didn't know. And but fortunate enough, through perseverance, we came out stronger, and I think that we're a better country for it.
And so the Auburn game gets moved back to the last week of the season, December, and y'all have the opportunity to play for the Western Division, which had never been won at LSU. Obviously a huge moment there. Then Auburn comes out and jumps on the eye of the Tiger, gets a 15-yard penalty, which moves y'all up, and y'all try the onside kick, and it's successful. Can you remember the sequence of events? Did you know they had jumped on the eye of the Tiger? Do you remember a conversation with the special team saying, hey, since we're moved up, we're going to go with an onside kick? What was that time frame like?
Yeah. What happened was, and so you understand what happened the year before, 2000, they were, I think they beat LSU, and they were smoking cigars on the eye after the game. So I really didn't know too much about the rival until we watching our highlight tape, and they're kind of putting it on the chalkboard as, hey man, these guys are smoking cigars on your eye and all of these types of things. So they come in and they tell us, hey man, we got this penalty. This is what we're going to do. I'm the assigned guy on the onside to be able to have some of the best hands on the team. So I knew that I would have an opportunity to get an onside kick. Auburn was a very physical team. They were smash mouth football team, so we knew that we had to take advantage of all of our opportunities, and we had a great kick, and I was able to recover.
And that wasn't your favorite special teams play of that night, though, was it?
It was not, man. It was not, man. It was not. Everybody who is a big follower of LSU football will always remember me knocking the snot out of Roderick Hood on the kickoff. I believe it was the kickoff after the onside. We go down and we had one goal, and that was to separate man from football. And you talk about Auburn smoking cigars on your eye. I knew on the eye of the Tiger, I knew that I just wanted to run through people. So we had an L1 go call, which was my call, where I get to just head hunt the man with the ball and separate man from football. He didn't see me coming, and he didn't return. I say that. He let go of the football, and he didn't return. So we got what we wanted, man. We were able to put some points on the board early. And I got a special teams. I still have my special teams of the week football that I was honored with in that game, and also got a chance to score a touchdown, man. So it was a great game for me as a freshman.
Talk about the atmosphere in Tiger Stadium that night, and being on the field, being as a player, did you notice all the cigar smoke coming from the student section and from the crowd?
Nah, man, you don't notice anything as a player. Once you are dialed in and it's go time, you really don't hear the crowd, honestly, or at least that's my experience. Not knowing what's going on. But I will say this about the LSU culture of football, that anywhere that I've been in the country, any state that I've been in, any table or panelist that I've sat at, or any sports guru has always said that there's nothing like Baton Rouge, especially at nighttime. So, it brings chills to your body, man, to walk down the legendary Tiger Walk, to see all of the dedicated fans coming to support you. And I promise you, man, it's no feeling like a packed house in Tiger Stadium, man. They really send chills down your spine. And I was one of the best decisions I ever made in my life was to stay home, get to know Coach Saban a little bit, and commit my college career to LSU.
Michael Clayton joining us one more. I know you're a busy guy, and we appreciate your time so much. I talked to Kyle Williams yesterday, and I want to ask you the same thing. You and Marcus Spears were kind of the hometown guys that were important for Nick Saban to bring in and to create this new era of LSU football. Do y'all kind of feel like you were the start of what was going to be the next 20 years of such a dominant run, one like we've never seen in Baton Rouge?
Well, I mean, now looking back, definitely how things plan out. I later became a captain on the team. When Coach Saban sat in my living room, he told me, and I didn't know who Coach Saban was on that Saturday before he came. I had no history of him, but he gave a sales pitch like none other, and I was going to Florida State, and he told me you can win a national championship at Florida State, but nobody in Baton Rouge will care. And he said, I want you to make a 40-year decision, not a 4-year decision. And I thought about it, and he says, Mike, you're the number one guy. If you come, I know people will follow. And he showed me a list of about 7 to 10 other guys, guys like Marquise Hill, a few guys who were in Texas like Ben Wilkerson that, I got on the phone with, and I called those guys. And, I said, hey, man, if I go, do you think that we can make a pact to all go? We had, like, out of the top 20 guys, 10 of them were from Louisiana. So I was on a mission to recruit those guys, and it all came into fruition, man. So definitely looking back, and after everything that I've dedicated to the program, just in terms of recruiting the next up-and-coming stars who were drafted later after me in the first round, everybody who came on that campus, they were my guys. I made sure that I showed them a good time in Baton Rouge. I made sure that I let them know the culture and showed them the culture so that they can ultimately make the decision to come to the university. And that was my job all 3 years that I was there. So every person who was drafted in the first round came specifically from, me recruiting them. And to this day, I'm still Big Bro, because that's the promise that I made for them when I was at LSU, that I would always look out for them. So, yes, man, me and Marcus had a big part. Now, I wasn't alone, and Marcus wasn't alone. We were a great team, and we had a lot of great athletes, guys like, Andrew Whitworth and Stephen Peterman and Randall Gay and Norman Lejeune and Corey Webster was a big part of why I chose to come to LSU, because I always looked up to Corey Webster growing up, 2-time Super Bowl champion with the New York Football Giants. So there were other influences, Rohan Davian, Robert Roll, Josh Reed. All of these guys played an influence of me coming, but I would say the culture of LSU changed when our 2001 class stepped on the scene, stepped on campus, and really put forth the best effort to be the best team in the country. We got that done. It was partly under my leadership, partly under Coach Saban's leadership, partly under the other captains on the team's leadership. So, yes, man, we take great pride in knowing that we had major contributions into why people all over the country look at LSU as a contender year in and year out, simply because we put forth the effort back in 2001 to 2003, won a national championship, and yeah, man, we hold that on our chest real proud, man. It's part of our love, man. We love it.
That's so awesome. Thanks, Michael. We appreciate your time.
All right, my guy.
That's Michael Clayton, former Tiger receiver, 2001 to 2003, a national champion, and that was some good stuff there. I mean, he was a heck of a player, but that was cool to run down memory lane and hear the way it unfolded in his head.
Yeah, I think, though, what I took out of that is just, and I saw it just from being a high school kid and middle school and going through high school, just how important recruiting is and how those relationships really last a lifetime. And you can look back at some of these classes and see some of the guys that you became friends with, play with, to go on and do great things at the next level and just do great things outside of football. And so I think that's the biggest thing every time I go to a game on Saturday, just never taking for granted the family atmosphere that LSU's created over the years. Just guys from players of old, of Michael Clayton era, to guys who are playing now, the Devin Whites of the world. So it's just a huge family, and what a thing to get behind in the LSU football, man. You gotta love it.
Look, Nick Saban's a really good football coach, really good. He's the greatest recruiter who's ever lived, and look, you hear that story. He tells Michael Clayton, he says, he said he was going to Florida State. Don't make a 4-year decision. You can go win one here, but you can win one here. It's a 40-year decision. Then you're a legend in your hometown. I don't think he's telling Devontae Smith that when he's going to recruit him out of Mamie. He's telling him, hey, come play and we'll get you to the NFL, and he wins the Heisman Trophy. So it's customizing your pitch to who you're talking to. But he's the best, and I can just see that. If you can look at Michael Clayton and go, hey, I can get you Marcus Spears, Marquise Hill, Ben Wilkerson. We'll get all these guys. I got this quarterback who's an older guy from Indiana that we can pull in, and we'll be just fine. But I can just see that, and it worked.
Yeah, Nick does a job, man. He does a job. I'll never forget his first time coming to Redemptress High School. We shut down high school for about 10 minutes just to watch him walk down the street. Everyone, like, freaking out about the whole thing and just hearing his voice. I heard his voice before I saw his face. He was in the office talking to my coach, and just hearing his voice, I'm like, man, that's Nick Saban in there. Like, it's a big deal, man. He knows what he's doing. He's a phenomenal recruiter. Obviously set this LSU thing in motion and got us to where we are now. So got to tip my cap to him, but still we're trying to take your head off November. So just be ready for that.
I hope Lane Kiffin beats him by 60 on Saturday. All right, we appreciate AccuTemp. We appreciate Michael Clayton. That is another Throwback Thursday for this LSU and Auburn week. Let's take a time out, come back with more Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, Hunt and Hill. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Ryan Clark in studio, Mike Triplett talking Saints and our Fantasy Blitz. Join us for Thursday's AFR 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Before we get into Saints-Giants, tonight a little college football synergy in the Thursday night NFL game. You've got Joe Burrow facing off against Trevor Lawrence for the first time since the national championship game, as well as Ohio State former head coach Urban Meyer on the other sideline, who recruited Joe Burrow and obviously coached him for a couple of years up there in Columbus. So an interesting kind of synergy there, but I don't know if it's the most interesting football game I've ever seen.
Yeah, I like the Bengals, man. I'll watch the Bengals because I love seeing Joey B and Jamar out there, and I think Joey's making that leap. He's had multiple touchdown passes in every game this season, so he's getting better, man. Coming off a really, really tough ACL surgery, but that'd be the only reason why I tune into that game.
You think Burrow and Chase will come to Baton Rouge this weekend?
Man, actually, they probably would. I wouldn't be shocked by that. You know, they're off Thursday. They'll be off Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So yeah, I would love to see that.
What was the deal in the NFL? Like, when y'all had bye weeks? Generally, I mean, a lot of guys come back, and y'all kind of coordinate on that deal.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially if you have a teammate on the team as you. I know I had a couple guys playing with me. I tried to get Whitver, chop my tail off, but he just wasn't with it with the kids, and so it's too much to make his way down. So. Yeah, definitely though. Especially if you got guys on other teams, like, hey, I'm going to the game. Yeah, we're definitely going. Especially bye weeks. I was trying to go, especially my rookie year. Yeah. Thursday night games, bye weeks. Every test I got, I was trying to get back.
For sure. All right, let's talk Saints Giants. Look, I'll just throw a question to you. We'll see if you can answer it on the spot. How many picks you think Daniel Jones has thrown this year?
Daniel Jones?
Yep.
0. 0
interceptions this year. Kind of surprised me as I was going over and looking at some things. It's just been a very vanilla offense. They check it down a lot. They're not very explosive, obviously. They haven't won a football game this year, but he does have some weapons. I mean, obviously, Sterling Shepard is a guy who's got some ability. You know, what can they get out of Saquon? We'll see. But there is some talent there, but it's a team that can't get on track, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. Just I say it all the time, man. You got to be really, really good at something in the NFL to score a lot of points, and if you're not, you're gonna be struggling. So you have one of the best backs when he's healthy in Saquon Barkley.
Right.
But if you're not blocking for him, then you're not probably gonna make a hay. And then the same goes for the passing game. I know they like Danny Dimes a lot, but if you're not making those explosive plays down the field on a consistent time and time again basis, you're not going to score. And if you're not scoring, then you're probably not going to be winning a lot of games. So I know they wanted him to work on the turnovers, which he has done that year, but now it's time to really start, trying to throw the ball down the field and really make some plays. Until they do that, they're going to lose a lot of games.
Saquon was limited in practice on Wednesday. We'll see as things move forward. But if you're out there on Wednesday giving it a little bit of a go, I would imagine that you'll see him in the game on Sunday. This is a team in the Giants that lost by 14 points to the Broncos at home, went on the road and lost a nail-biter against Washington 30-29, and then played Falcons at home, who were awful, and lost the game 17-14. So, look, it's a team that certainly has not set the world on fire. We can digest the matchup all we want to with the weapons there and then what the Giants do or don't have on the defensive side of the football. I think the bigger story for me is the environment in the Superdome on Sunday that should be as good as any in the league on Sunday.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be electric. I know the fans, even with COVID last year, just watching that playoff game was so weird. The Saints in a home playoff game, and you have no home field advantage at all. It's just an empty Superdome. So I know the fans are itching at the bit to get in that Superdome and make a lot of noise and get really rowdy, especially after the hurricane and not being able to really celebrate anything. This is going to be the first time for a lot of people to really, come to New Orleans, come to the Superdome, and really just celebrate the Saints, really, having a bounce-back season. Well, not bounce back, but having a season that really people didn't expect to have, especially with the hurricane and traveling and everything like that. So I'm excited to really see what that atmosphere is going to look like.
as I look at I think it's just the Superdome's just gonna be on springs. It's not the biggest game of the weekend, but it may be the most important to a city that is trying to get back in there. And obviously, we're coming off the COVID year, like you said, and it's going to be unbelievable in there. It's going to be deafening, and it's going to be probably the most difficult environment that Daniel Jones has played in his entire life. I mean, when you figure he's a Duke quarterback, and then you go through a COVID year, he's never going to have seen anything like this before. And it's not a Giants offense that's been humming. They're bottom half of the league in total offense. They're bottom half of the league in passing offense. You move over to rushing offense, and yeah, they've got a really good player, but they're right there in the middle of the pack in terms of rushing. And then when you go to points per game, they're not they've not been very good. They're now down there towards the bottom with teams like Jacksonville, Pittsburgh, Atlanta. So it's just not an offense that I expect against a Saints defense that's getting healthier. And if you count week 2 as an outlier and you just talk about weeks 3 and week 1, it's a Saints defense that's going to be ferocious. In that environment, I just can't see the Giants getting a bunch of traction unless Barkley does it by himself.
Yeah, I wonder what the spread is. So if I had to guess, I haven't looked at it, but I'd say the Saints are laying 6.5 if I had to guess.
Saints are about a touchdown favorite.
Well, yeah, that's what I figured. So, yeah, it's going to be tough for the Giants to come in that atmosphere, especially with the Saints defensive backs. I think that's what's going to be the Saints' strong suit this season. I love their 3 cornerbacks right now when they move C.J. Gardner-Johnson to the nickel spot. Then you got Marshawn and I think Paulson Adebo. Yep. And they really don't even have to use Roby. They went and traded him and got him over there.
Yeah, he didn't play very much last week.
Yeah, they don't even need him. And then I love their safeties in Marcus Williams and Malcolm Jenkins. And I think they match up extremely well with the Giants receiver. So if you're not getting big chunk plays in the pass game and Saquon isn't cutting you alive in the run game, it should be a long day for Danny Dimes and the crew.
Question is, the Saints, as we talked with Luke Johnson a little earlier this week, are last in the NFL in pass attempts. They are going to sit behind that offensive line. Now, some of that is skewed a little bit. They were awful against Carolina, but you get that huge lead against Green Bay, you're going to run the football. And last week, they really made a commitment to run it. The question is, you're in your home environment, you're playing a team that's 0-3 and not all that good. Does Sean Payton put more on Jameis Winston's plate, or does he say, look, we're going to run it?
I don't think this is the week for that. Yeah. I don't think Danny Dimes can put enough points on the board to really make you have to dig into your bag of chips and really start opening that offense up like you really would have to. I think the Bucs week will be something where Sean Payton's like, all right, we're going to have to probably throw it a little more this week. But against Danny Dimes, especially at home, he's going to stick to what he knows, and that's giving Alvin Kamara the rock, mixing a little Tony Jones in there, and then try to do some deep play action. I think you can do that right at home in that home environment and put yourself right in position to win that game.
It is interesting because you consider a lot of times when I talk about football coaches, and full disclosure, I don't know very many football coaches. I mean, Steve Ensminger knows who I am because I've been in the building for 5 years and interviewed him 5 years for the pregame show, but I don't know very many football coaches. My sense from the outside is that most of them carry a pretty large ego because they've reached a certain level of success. They're well paid. Football is a competitive thing. You've got to be confident in what you're doing, and so a lot of football coaches have a lot of egos. And so there's a sense that Sean Payton could have attacked this and said, look, I'm the offensive genius here. I can make Jameis Winston into a guy who lights up the passing yardage statistics and doesn't turn it over. Watch this. But instead, it's more important, obviously, but I'm speaking to an ego thing here, to win the game. And what are we good at? Well, we got a great offensive line, maybe the best in the league. I know we're missing Armstead. And we've got some playmakers at running back. That's what we're going to do. So it's not, look, I threw it 50 times a game with Drew Brees. We're going to do that. No, it's how do we win? And we win by running the football. So, it's a credit to Sean Payton. Not that he needs any credit from me, but it's a credit to Sean Payton that he's able to adapt to kind of what he's got. And we should have known that based on winning games with Teddy and winning games with Taysom that he can do it. But Jameis is more gifted than those two guys. So it's been interesting to watch.
Yeah, that's what separates the good coaches from the elite coaches. The elite coaches don't care about their identity. They don't care about, what I did 10 years ago. All they care about is winning football games. And for the Saints right now, it's not throwing the ball 50, 60 times a game with a quarterback who has over 70,000 passing yards. You just don't have that guy right now. Right now, we got a guy who's in a new system. Guy who's thrown 30 interceptions in the NFL season before. So we got to do and work around that. And right now, running the ball with Alvin Kamara seems like a great idea. And also running this heavy play action game because Jameis does have a huge arm. And limiting his opportunities to make bonehead decisions, I think, is why you see the amount of pass attempts you see because Something tells me if Jameis drops back and throws it 50, 60 times, a couple of those you're going to want to
go to the wrong team.
Yeah.
We don't like that. It's going to be awesome. For those of you who are headed to the Dome on Sunday, I am jealous. Y'all enjoy it and make it a raucous environment. We'll take one more time out. Survivor Picks is coming. We're still alive, all three of us, and we'll give you some take it or leave it. That's closing out Hunt and Hill on a Thursday.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. Need repair? Our service department is ready and available to help you today. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
And our topic today is about savings. What is savings?
Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
Have you been issued a ticket for texting, speeding, or other traffic violations? Have you made a mistake? We all have. You're not a bad person. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown at 225-343-1111 or connect with us online at ocbrown.com.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my four boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at PatientPlusUC.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back, North Airway off of Airline Highway.
Tonight, we invite you to celebrate life, wherever and whenever you can, understanding that time is never on our side. Instead, gather up your friends tonight and share a few stories and laughs over a good bottle of wine. Or maybe a family meal that gives everyone a chance to reconnect and remember what's really important, whether it's for a birthday, an anniversary, or simply to remind someone special that they are loved. Rafino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Ochsner Health.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
It's week 5 in the prep football season. We get you started Friday night at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview. Catholic High and Lafayette Christian kick off at 7, immediately followed by a full 2 hours of the Louisiana Prep Scoreboard Show on YouTube, CST, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, let's shut it down here on a Thursday. As we do this time every week, we will go to our Survivor picks. All three of us still alive. Taylor Sharp has taken Carolina in week 1, Tampa in week 2, and the Cardinals in week 3. Throw it to you now. What's your week 4 selection, sir?
I'm going to go Tennessee Titans over the New York Jets.
The Tennessee Titans, are they on the road or is that in Nashville?
I think they're on the road.
That game is, up in, I don't even know where the stadium is.
It's in New Jersey.
Yeah, New Jersey, wherever. That's a quality pick because the Jets are a poor football outfit this year. So Taylor is on the Titans. Jeremy, where are you headed?
I'm actually on the Titans as well.
Okay.
I'll take the Titans. I'll take me a little King Henry on the road.
That means
Road Warriors.
That means I have a chance to win it if the Jets Jets can get it done. I won't be selecting the Jets. I'm not going to try to be the smartest guy in the room here. Look, Buffalo is laying 16 points against the hapless Texans. They are at home. I will be taking my Super Bowl pick, the Buffalo Bills, in this pick. So 2 guys on the Titans, Jeremy and Taylor. I am on Buffalo. I feel very confident. I am winning these things routinely by about 20 points. Jeremy needs 66-yard field goals to stay alive. There's 2 ways to do this thing. I'm confident mine will end in a championship. All right, let's do some take it or leave it.
Let's do it. All right, take it or leave it. The NCAA is considered hosting the men's and women's Final Four in the same city. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave it. I mean, I feel like having 8 teams pack a downtown is overkill on a weekend. I mean, is the women's Final Four hurting? I feel like they do pretty decent, for their traveling crew. It's not going to make me watch because they're in the same city. It's just not something that's going to melt my butter necessarily, unless Kim Mulkey can get our squad there, and then I'll be locked in. But I think it's fine. I don't necessarily need that. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'll leave it. I don't think I don't get the significance of having it in the same arena or same city. Probably obviously it's 2 different days, but I don't know. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal either way, honestly.
All right, Georgia quarterback JT Daniels set to return after missing last week's game. Arkansas's pass defense only giving up 144 yards a game. Taking JT will light up the Hogs.
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
I just think this is a mismatch. I know Arkansas is feeling really good about themselves, but Calzada, you're not that guy, pal. You're not. So JT's a big step up from Calzada, and I think especially at home between the hedges, it's going to be a long day for the Razorbacks.
Talk about that game tomorrow. I would tend to agree with that.
Alrighty. Okay. Jim Bones McKay will leave television and caddy full-time for Justin Thomas. Taking or leaving? This is good for golf.
I'm going to leave it as good for golf. It's good for JT because Bones was on Phil Mickelson's bag for a very long time as an excellent caddy and will do a great job with JT. He's worked with him a little bit in the past. They've won a tournament together, actually. But Bones is so good on the telecast as an on-course reporter because he knows what caddies are going through. He knows what players like, what they don't. He's seen all these courses, seen them at a championship level. He knows what conversations are like in majors because he's done that with Phil for so long. So I just love him so much on the television broadcast. I'm going to miss him, but it's a great get for Justin Thomas, who will have Bones on the bag. So that's a good thing. Steve Kerr, head coach of the Warriors, said Klay Thompson is shooting lights out at training camp, taking or leaving Klay to bounce back after 2 years out and stroking it for the Warriors.
I think so, man. What Klay does well, I'll take it.
I'll take it.
What Klay does well is catch and shoot, man. He's going to be able to do that till he's old and gray, and especially in that offense, he's not going to be asked to handle the ball and do all those things. So you leave Klay open, man, you can guarantee those are going to be 3 points down your throat. So I'll take that. Klay's going to come back stroking that thing.
I would not surprise. I missed the Splash Brothers. Look, I will say I haven't been to a ton of NBA games. I've gone down to a couple of Pels games, and one was against the Warriors. And I want the Pels to win. I support them. I don't watch them very often. But I did, when I went to that game, I wanted to see the Warriors go on one of those lightning runs. Mm-hmm. And the Pels absolutely dominated the first half. I think they were up 23 at halftime. And after 6 minutes of play, it was tied. I mean, they went on one of those sprees where it was just Steph actually hurt his Achilles in that game in New Orleans and missed a lot of time after it. But it was one of those, just absolute fire torch sessions they go on that was something to behold. I wouldn't mind if that came back to the NBA, quite honestly. So let's hope that's the case.
I've gotten a chance to watch them at Oracle, and just watch the crowd get behind them when they're going on some of those runs. It's so electric. It feels like the roof is about to blow off the next time Steph hits a three. It's levels to it. When Steph hits a three, though, it just goes out of control. So yeah, you definitely get to witness one of those runs. It's a thing to see. All right, last one here. Oh, you're going to like this.
We like this a lot.
Milwaukee, huh? Brewers reliever Devin Williams got drunk after the Brewers clinched the division, then got mad and punched the wall, breaking his hands. You taking or leaving? This is a big deal for the playoffs.
It's a huge deal for the playoffs. I'll take that. Because he's one of the best relief pitchers in the game. His changeup is literally the best in all of baseball. But I'm leaving that anybody in Milwaukee is going to care because Aaron Rodgers has taken the field for the season, and they don't care about the Brewers once that happens. I know this. I'm a Cubs fan. They don't give a rip about the Brewers when the Packers start. So no one's going to care up there, but it's a huge deal, and it's hilarious because this guy, you ever root for injuries? This guy's going to be fine. He broke his hand. They'll just recover it. It's hilarious to me that he got drunk because they, in celebration, then got mad and then broke his hand punching a wall and is going to miss the rest of the season. That to me is hilarious because I don't like the Brewers and hope they lose every game they play.
Yeah, that's great news for the Cubs, man. The Brewers not doing anything in the playoffs.
Let's hope.
Though. Yeah.
You
got to worry
about the Cardinals too.
You never
so that's
know.
Not great.
You never know. Yelich may get hot. You never know. But
Yelich is not my favorite.
Yeah. But I think that's just a hilarious story, and I'm sure he feels sick. And I was laughing at what he said. He was like, "This is my fault." Well, I wonder who else's fault it could be.
It's not the wall's fault for not moving. Fun show. Had a lot of fun. Had a lot of fun chatting. We had our Throwback Thursday presented by AccuTemp. LSU and Auburn 2001. LSU's first Western Division championship. Had Michael Clayton on to talk about that. He was great. Gave us a story about Nick Saban recruiting him and really changing the tide of LSU football on the recruiting trail. So if you missed any of that, you can catch it on YouTube or you can get on demand, 1045ESPN.com. We are so fired up for tomorrow's show. It is an unbelievable slate of football over the weekend, and we'll talk about all of that tomorrow. Matt Moscona is going to drive you home from 3 to 6 today. Jimmy Ott's already gone. He was this morning, so you won't hear him from 6 to 8, but we're fired up for Musso and Mario in your early line. That's coming up next on 1045